2021 is finally finishing. For that reason, a top 10 is needed. Hello guys, one more time, welcome to Ring Royalty. My name is Alexis, as you already know, and today I am bringing you my top 10 of best women's wrestlers in 2021. This was a good year for women's wrestling, and let's remember that this is my top 10. I am trying to be as objective as possible, but it is still a biased opinion, so don't come for me if you don't agree. Whether you agree with my top or not, I would love to see your tops down in the comments. Let me know who are the 10 best women's wrestlers of the year in your opinion. Without anything left to say, let's start with the video. For my number 10, I will be choosing a woman that was in WWE but is currently on Impact, the legendary Mickie James. Hardcore country Mickie James definitely started the year in a very weird way. She was invited to the Raw reunion episode in January after disappearing with absolutely no explanation. Then she returned as one of the Special Legends appearances during the Women's Royal Rumble 2021, and after that she was fired and never seen again in WWE. She became very trendy after the trash bag incident, when they basically stuffed all of Mickie's things in a trash bag and sent them home. That was very controversial. A lot of different wrestlers talked about it. They were trashing WWE. Some of them were attacking Mickie for being or playing the victim. And even some other companies mocked that, like Impact. And even though she wasn't really wrestling, she was still very popular on social media and on the public eye when it comes to women's wrestling. She would bounce back and return full force to the women's wrestling industry by becoming the executive producer of the first ever all-women's pay-per-view produced by women, NWA Empower. It was a fantastic pay-per-view. If you haven't watched it, go and do it. It is really worth it. I think it gave the opportunity to many indie wrestlers to showcase what they could do. Now, while she was seeking for talent across many different promotions, Mickie James would low-key start a rivalry with Impact Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo. It would all start slowly back in Slammiversary, but it would come on full force after NWA Empower, and we would have one of the best grudge feuds for the Knockouts Championship we have seen in a while, with backstage brawls, many different segments, some interesting stipulations like pick your poison matches. At the end of all of these grueling rivalry, hardcore country Mickie James would defeat Deonna Purrazzo in the biggest event of the year for Impact Wrestling, Bound for Glory, to become the 4-time Knockouts champion. Mickie James definitely came a long way in 2021. From getting released from WWE and also receiving all her possessions in a trash bag, to being the executive producer of a monumental event and becoming Knockouts champion. I would say this is an upgrade for sure, because she held women's wrestling from the back as a producer, giving the chance to many different women, and she also helped herself to build her career back after losing most of her credibility as a singles competitor during her WWE 2020 run. So kudos to Mickie James, she did an awesome job this year. Let's move to my number 9, and for this spot I am choosing Nikki Ash. Nikki Ash started the year as Nikki Cross, multiple personalities we stan, and she would be basically MIA for the first 4 or 5 months of 2021, barely getting any matches or TV time, until she won 2 Beat the Clock Challenges matches against Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, who were feuding for the Raw Women's Championship at the time. That apparently gave her some sort of confidence in herself, and that's how the almost a superhero persona appeared on TV one day out of nowhere. But I'm not complaining, but low-key I am complaining. This new character would give her the opportunity to win the Women's 2021 Money in the Bank ladder match. This was a huge moment for Nikki, and the night after the pay-per-view she would cash in her briefcase and defeat Charlotte Flair to become the Raw Women's Champion. This will be the first time she wins the Raw Women's Championship, but also it will be the first time Nikki is a singles champion in WWE. This championship reign wasn't booked properly, she didn't look strong, and she lost the title only a month after winning it at SummerSlam against Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, tapping out to the figure 8, going back to obscurity. Something that I have to admit is that even though Nikki wasn't a champion for long, at least WWE gave her the chance to become a champion. which is something not many other women had the privilege to be. So this was a nice moment for her. Later on, she would team up with former foe Rhea Ripley to become Women's Tag Team Champion, making Nikki Ash the first person ever to be 3-time Women's Tag Team Champion. It is nice. I think this would be the best year out of Nikki ASH's career in WWE ever. I don't really see her having a best year than 2021. She's not a prominent figure in the division. I think that is obvious. She wasn't chosen to participate at Survivor Series Elimination Tag Team match. For me, it's obvious that WWE doesn't really see her as a main player in the division. So I think this is the farthest she's gonna get in her career. But at least she had this moment and she had this year to treasure in her heart. That is something. Now it's time to move to my number 8. And for this number, I am choosing someone that is connected to Nikki ASH because it is the Nightmare, Rhea Ripley. Oh my god, what a year for Rhea Ripley. She started with the last women's standing match in NXT against Raquel Gonzalez. It doesn't matter that she lost the match because she had an amazing showing and the match was must see. After that, she would be in the final 2 women during the Royal Rumble match, and then she would randomly debut on Raw 2 weeks before WrestleMania, challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, and in fact taking the title from her in the biggest stage of them all. What a start of a year for Rhea Ripley. She was undeniably a star in NXT and we hoped to see her in the main roster having the same type of success. Apparently that's what we were going to get, but soon we realized that no, it wasn't like that at all. After WrestleMania, she would start a feud with Charlotte Flair and former Raw Women's Champion Asuka, managing to defend the title twice, once at WrestleMania Backlash in a triple threat, and then by disqualification against Charlotte Flair as well. But knowing the drill after many years of watching WWE, Charlotte Flair wouldn't be satisfied by winning due to disqualification, so she would get a rematch at Money in the Bank. One of the best women's matches I've seen this year for sure. Sadly, Rhea Ripley would lose the Raw Women's Championship, and then she would be sent back to the mid-carders area where she would team up with Nikki Ash and win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Rhea would still look strong in the rest of the year, but there is nothing else to highlight, to be honest. She actually was chosen to be part of Team Raw during the Survivor Series event, but that's about it. The performance wasn't that great either. I would say Rhea Ripley has a lot more to offer, but I am not sure why they are not giving her the singles push that she deserves. She was such a star in NXT and I feel like she has been lost in the shuffle these past couple months, especially since entering the tag team division. But then again, that's WWE for all of you. Also, a fun fact that you probably didn't know, Rhea Ripley can tie Charlotte Flair by becoming only the second woman in history to win 5 different championships. She could actually make history that way. So I guess we just have to wait and see what's gonna happen with Rhea next year. For my number 7, I am choosing, oh my god, it hurts me to say this, but for my number 7, I'm choosing Sasha Banks. I really wish Sasha could be higher, but considering she had 2 hiatus from WWE, she couldn't really get in a higher position. But she main evented WrestleMania Night 1 along with Bianca Belair, gave us an amazing look. The match was spectacular, for me one of the best WrestleMania matches in women's wrestling history. And she has been a consistent performer despite not having many accolades this year. She had put on great matches, for example the triple threat at Saudi Arabia with Becky and Bianca, also her match on SmackDown against Becky Lynch and her match on SmackDown against Bianca Belair, and even the Royal Rumble match against Carmella for the SmackDown Women's Championship was nice. I'm convinced that Sasha is one of the few women's wrestlers on the roster today that can shine with whoever is in the ring with her. Sasha can adapt to her opponents in ring style, and that's what made her so special, and that's why she can give us excellent match after excellent match after excellent match. She never disappoints. She's such a great performer. Her looks are always on point. She was the captain of Team SmackDown at Survivor Series, and the way that she was eliminated was trash. They did her so dirty. Apparently she would be teaming up with Naomi now. Hopefully that doesn't happen because she's such a great singles competitor, that we don't need Sasha in another random tag team. Also, we have to highlight that she was filming in The Mandalorian, even if it doesn't have anything to do with wrestling itself. She's an icon, and you can tell me otherwise. Probably one of the best in-ring performers in the women's division today as well. She's a prominent figure and one of the most important wrestlers in WWE today. That's undeniable. Speaking of the most important wrestlers in WWE, the face of the women's division is at number 6. Because at number 6, I chose Becky Lynch. The man Big Time Bex arrived at SummerSlam, defeated Bianca in 27 seconds, something that angered a lot of people, and became the SmackDown Women's Champion right away. After that moment, she has been a very interesting heel, let's say. I mean, she's charismatic, we can't deny that. In ring-wise, I don't think she's the greatest, but she can have a good match with storytelling, and that's something very important. The triple threat match with Sasha and Bianca at Saudi Arabia is one example of how she can have a great match and also give us some storytelling, showing us that she's still the man, but now with some underhanded tactics in her arsenal. She has killer promos from time to time, and also WWE loves her. They are investing a lot of time on Becky Lynch as the biggest superstar in the women's division. Her match against Charlotte Flair at Survivor Series for me is the best match Becky Lynch had in a while. Such a grueling match, looked very personal. Once again, the storytelling was there. Becky's very good at that, also with her facial expressions and everything. And she's basically being undefeated ever since coming back from her pregnancy leave. I think they are protecting her a lot, which I understand, but I just want her to lose the championship and enter a side feud. She can be so great at elevating other women because of how charismatic she is, but they are not giving her that chance. I feel like Becky Lynch is becoming Charlotte 2.0 low-key, and I hope that doesn't happen. I am pretty sure and pretty positive that she needs to drop the title so we can see more of her character develop. She has been a champion ever since WrestleMania 35. So we have seen it all, honey. You don't need to have the championship involved in a rivalry to make it fantastic. And I'm sure Becky Lynch can do just fine without the Women's Championship. But so far, she has won the SmackDown Women's Championship and then traded it for the Raw Women's Championship, so I guess she won 2 titles this year, and she's still Big Time Back, so what else can we say? It's time for number 5, and this woman was in the exact same spot in my list last year, which if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna leave the link over here, and I'm talking about the Queen, Charlotte Flair. Woo! Probably the best performer in the women's division. I didn't enjoy Charlotte Flair that much these past couple years, but for some reason in 2021, when they started to add these frustrated and wicked elements to her character, and now she's the opportunity as well, I am enjoying Charlotte very, very much. But she started as one half of the women's tag team champions along with Asuka. I won't blame you if you don't remember that title reign, nothing came out of it. Miss WrestleMania, she came back, she made Rhea Ripley's life miserable and won the Raw Women's Championship after a very amusing singles match against Rhea Ripley. Then again, she lost it due to a cash-in by Nikki Ash, but she would win it back not even a month after it at the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam, in a triple threat between the two former champions. She traded the Raw Women's Championship for the SmackDown one with Becky in that controversial segment, and she's yet to defend the SmackDown Women's title. Not sure why, not sure where they are going with the Toni Storm storyline, which is giving me some Diva Eras vibes after throwing pies to each other back and forth. Like Kelly and Layla would be so proud. Anyways, so the Queen basically did what she does best, and that is winning, conquering, and becoming champion. She reinvented herself a little bit, and I like that because she has always been the queen and it was a very stale gimmick. Now she's adding a little bit more of a spice to her character, and that's something that I really appreciate. So it's a well-deserved spot number 5. And for number 4, I am going to NXT to choose Raquel Gonzalez. The chingona Raquel Gonzalez making her first appearing in my list, the first superstar and only superstar from NXT in this video. She had a spectacular match during the WrestleMania weekend against Io Shirai at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver to win the championship. Such a great moment for her. She was definitely the star of the alliance between her and Dakota Kai. She outshined Dakota in so many different ways, and that's why NXT management gave her the opportunity to become the singles champion. Such a sweet moment. She dominated the division after becoming champion, defeating the likes of Ember Moon and Frankie Monet and Xia Li, and probably the most important rivalry and match of her whole championship reign against Dakota Kai. Obviously, it was a grueling and very personal rivalry which ended with an amazing match. The first time she did a top rope Chingona bomb. Raquel Gonzalez did awesome as NXT Women's Champion. She looked like this giant Amazon that was unbeatable. There was no one that could step in her way. She definitely gave us some instant classics with the matches against Dakota and Io, like I mentioned. Also, I almost forgot that before becoming champion, she defeated Rhea Ripley in that amazing last women's standing match during the New Year's edition of NXT. And also, she won the Dusty Cup Tag Team Tournament along with Dakota Kai, which would give them the opportunity to be crowned the first ever NXT Women's Tag Team Champions as well. The last relevant thing she has done this year will be participating in the Women's War Game match. It was a quite messy match, but still is something really grueling for women, and the fact that Raquel Gonzalez was there and had so many great spots, including the one with Dakota Kai inside the trash can, it was just great. So Raquel Gonzalez definitely made her mark and solidified herself as one of the main women in NXT during 2021. For my number 4, I am moving to AEW and I'm choosing DMD, Dr. Britt Baker. The current AEW World Women's Champion Britt Baker has done an awesome job on putting the AEW Women's Division on the map. She's definitely one of the main faces of the company, whether it's male or female, and also she tried to do everything she could to keep the eyes on the women's division in AEW. And she started the year with a feud against Thunder Rosa, giving us 2 great matches against her, especially the last one, the unsanctioned Lights Out match, where Britt Baker became one of the hardcore legends we have been craving ever since Daphne retired. Britt Baker was bleeding, there were ladders, chairs, thumbtacks involved in that match. She technically lost the match, but I would say she won many fans during that performance. And also, she became the women's champion, defeating Hikaru Shida, finally proving to everyone that she is the face of the AEW women's division. We already knew that beforehand, but now she has the proof. The title around her waist. She would give us an instant classic when she defended the title against Kris Statlander at All Out. She also had another hardcore match against Abaddon in the Halloween edition of AEW and has been ruling the division ever since, cutting amazing promos, shading everyone from Ruby Soho to Ty Conti, Thunder Rosa. She has owned every woman that has come her way, definitely established herself as one of the most important women in the whole women's wrestling industry today. She has the charisma, the mic skills, the wrestling ability. I love Britt Baker's finisher, the lockjaw, creative, innovative, and also fits the character. So Britt Baker doing everything right. Kudos to her. It's time for number 2, and I'm choosing another woman who proved that WWE is not necessarily the place to be if you want to succeed as a women's wrestler. And that is the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo had the best year of her career in 2021. She dominated absolutely everyone across many different promotions, not only Impact Wrestling, but also AAA and even NWA. Like, she is slaying everywhere that she goes. She has done so much in this year that I cannot even mention all of it. She has defeated legendary women like Melina at NWA Empower, Jazz, retiring her at Hardcore Justice, ODB, one of the most decorated knockouts in history. She had and still has one of the most interesting women's wrestling rivalries we have seen in a while with legendary Mickie James, and she had the spectacular match at Bound for Glory with her. Also, she has defeated the whole Knockouts roster before losing the title to Mickie at Bound for Glory. Purrazzo established herself as one of the most technical gifted performers in wrestling today. What's more, she was also a double champion this year. Not only the Knockouts champion, reign that lasted for almost a year, but also winning the AAA Reina de Reinas Championship in Mexico. She also joined the Drama King, also known as Aiden English back in WWE, to win Impact's first ever homecoming mixed tag tournament. Deonna Purrazzo is doing absolutely everything she can to shut a lot of people up. The ones that doubted her, the ones that said she wasn't interesting enough or she wasn't a good wrestler to be successful. Well, Purrazzo is proving everyone wrong. The Virtuosa era is far from being over, and I am very excited and looking forward to see what's gonna happen in her rematch for the Knockouts Championship against Hardcore Country Mickie James. 2021 is definitely the best year out of Deonna Purrazzo's whole wrestling career. And we're finally here on the first spot of my list. Not surprised to, because I think you know who it is. And let's just talk about the greatest female wrestler in 2021. That is the EST, Bianca Belair, who was also ranked as the #1 female wrestler by PWI Insider in 2021, and rightfully so. Starting from January, winning the Royal Rumble match after entering at number 3. Such an amazing performance, incredible timing, great spots, and great storytelling. She was already the biggest babyface in the company after that moment, and it only got better when she had the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 against Sasha Banks, the match that won an SP and gave Bianca Belair the best performance of her career so far. She was a star and became the SmackDown Women's Champion in the main event of WrestleMania. Such a huge compliment from Bianca Belair, only being on the main roster for what, a year? She got all of that because she truly deserved it. She's athletic, she's fast, she's strong, she's charismatic, everything is right with her. And also she had many great title defenses. Right after WrestleMania, she restarted her feud with Bayley. She had one match at WrestleMania Backlash, it wasn't that great, but the Hell in a Cell match against her was fantastic, and the way she won with the KOD against the ladder, she has me on the edge of my seat every time I see her perform. Obviously she suffered from that loss at SummerSlam against Becky Lynch, but then she bounced back. She was part of the triple threat match in Saudi Arabia against Sasha and Becky, which was another amazing showing for her. She also got that spectacular and underrated Raw Women's Championship match against Charlotte Flair in the main event of Monday Night Raw. It was a 5-star caliber match. Then she had that amazing match against Becky Lynch on Raw as well for the title. Even if she's in this side feud with Doudrop now, she still managed to become the sole survivor at Survivor Series for the Raw team. She eliminated 3 other women and had a remarkable performance. Hopefully 2022 will be even a bigger year for Bianca, but she is the star that shined the brightest during this year, and that's something that nobody would be able to take away from having great matches with all of the 4 horsewomen and winning basically every big pay-per-view WWE has to offer with the exception of SummerSlam. Let's pretend that SummerSlam never happened, alright? Alright, so this was my list of the top 10 female wrestlers of 2021. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with my list or not. Who do you think deserves to be at the top of the mountain in 2021? I would also like to thank you as always for your support. It's been incredible. We have accomplished so much this year together and I can't thank you enough for it. This will be it for this video. There's nothing else I have to say. Happy holidays for everyone. I would still upload one more video before Christmas, but still I just want to say it in advance. My name is Alexis, as you already know, and here is my Instagram if you want to contact me or anything, and I will see you guys next time. Stay safe, have happy holidays, and please don't try anything crazy during the holiday season, okay? Goodbye!